Hey, it's Zach. Today I'm trying to play some Sonic CD, but of course the laser is not working. So just a quick and easy fix for y'all. All you really gotta do is open that sucker up and adjust it most of the time. It just needs to be realigned, so that's all I really did. The music is going to be very, very quiet compared to the other sounds because that's another problem with my Sega CD, but we're just not gonna worry about it, alright? Alright. It's June, so that means that it's Pride Month. So let's talk gay. So, for those of you who are not aware, I am pansexual, which means that I could be potentially attracted to any gender or sex or whatever you identify as. And so I want to talk about me being a little queer, being a little gay. Growing up, I grew up in the mid 2000s, so it was very popular to be like, haha, you're gay. And I still do that. I think it's hilarious. But, I have to pass too. Anyway, I was also, I was raised by my grandparents, so there was kind of like a generational divide thing going on there, My grandma would be like watching TV and she'd be like, I think something's up with him. And then Papa would be like, what do you mean? He's a little tippy-toed. And like that, that meant gay. That meant like gaydar going off. So like, there was that kind of like internalized thing where it's like, I didn't really know I was, queer until later on. But at that point, if I ever was, there would definitely be that like kind of fear to say it because like there's like that internalized like, oh, being tippy-toed. And so you can't fucking say that, Grandma. But yeah, there was a lot of that. We were quote unquote Christian, but we weren't really like a religious household. They were old, so they're like, oh, we fear God. Just so you know, when this horrible things happen, when you're bad, you're gonna go to hell. Well, I wasn't raised very religious. There was that like big fear of hell like looming over. That would be mentioned quite a bit by my family, and when you're a little kid and you don't fucking understand, you're fearing that everything will make you go to hell. I used to be scared of like thoughts. I used to be scared of, in my brain I'd be like, what does God look like? And then I'd be like, just for thinking that I'm going to hell, oh my God. And then I'd have panic attacks at like age 6. So that was cool. My mother kind of one day just became super hyper religious, where it didn't really seem like she was before, and nothing wrong with that. Like that helps her. It helps her stay sober, and she's been in high spirits. But especially up until recent, she's had a lot of homophobia that she's working on. But there is one moment I do remember when she was driving me to school. And there was like a point where like I guess we were listening to the radio and she was like ranting about gay people, and I was like, well, so what if they want to get married? And she'd be like, and I don't know, we debated about it or something. I must have been like 13. This is the only part that really stuck out to me. But she was like, if you're defending them, what, are you gay yourself? And I'm like, what? Okay, I guess I won't defend women. That's but the ironic part is about a year later I found out that I was into dudes, so I don't know. not saying she's right, but you know how that all turned out. So part of this was like, you know what, I want to be a better Christian, so I started going to church with my mother, and it was like one of those kind of like hip churches, it was like, oh, we're a bunch of youngins, we're gonna do things a little differently. I don't know why my go-to is the southern accent. But they were not Southern. We do not live in the South. But, we're going to do something a little different. We're cool. I'm doing the Southern accent again. And it's just so fun. It's a fun accent. Anyway, I went to this church with my mom for about 2 years at this point. Like, I was trying to become, a Christian. And I lost my faith a little later on. But I'd say that this is probably the inciting incident of that. So I do remember, there was a day where we went, and, they were doing, like, the sermon or whatever, and these people have been, like, really cool. Like, we have, like, you know, a bunch of younger people, a bunch of like, you know, I'm pretty sure there's like at least 2 gay people there, or like a couple or something, like very open-minded church. But there was a point where like the older lady stepped up like to make an announcement or something, and I don't know what the fuck they were talking about, like personality types or some shit, but I cannot remember the context, but the thing that sticks out to me is she's like, unless you're gay. I mean, that's open to debate, you know, whether or not that'll get you in hell, but, you know, we don't want to talk about those people. And like, what? The thing here was, as of about 2 months before that, I was like starting to question a little bit. Because, like, you know, I'm a teenager, I'm doing a lot of, you know, I'm watching a lot of porn at this point, okay? And I found myself maybe a little attracted to the opposite sex a little bit. So I you know, I wasn't certain, but, you know, so what if I was, right? And then why would I go to hell for that? Like, that's kind of stupid. Like, why did God make us like that? I don't know. So that was kind of like the opening seeds that made me that made me at least leave that church, you know. I never went back after that day. It like really upset me. But yeah, that's when I was like, maybe I am into dudes. But the thing was is that I was also attracted to women very, very much. And that never faded. So for a while, for many years, like 7-8 years, I thought I was bisexual, which is, you know, the attraction to you know, male and female. At the time, I was very like, I don't really care too much to like differentiate all of the terminologies and whatnot. It's like I view women, you know, I view trans women as women and trans men as men. So it's like, you know, I wasn't really thinking about non-binary or like anything in between, but I was like, I'm just bi, you know, it's fine, whatever. But it took me a minute to be like, no, I'm closer to pan, you know. I was already dating my my non-binary partner before I was like, wait a minute, maybe I'm not bi, maybe it's something else, maybe I don't fucking know. But, you know, whatever. You know what? It doesn't fucking matter. There's all these, like, fucking words and shit. And words are words, and labels are labels, and they're all gay. Anyway, at first I came out to my friends, but not really my family. And it took me a long time to come out to my family. Almost, you know, a decade. So it was just kind of known from my friends. There was a point where I wanted to get away from my grandma, so I wanted to like spend a year with my mom, which I ended up doing, and that's a story for another day. But basically, I wanted to before I even ask, I want to make sure. So I decided to come out to my mother. She handled it very, very well. You know, she's definitely been trying to work on the little bit of homophobia and whatnot. That's a whole nother can of worms. But she's been very accepting. And then it just kind of like slipped out one day. Actually, kind of recently, like a couple months ago, I was coming back home for some godforsaken reason. And it just kind of like, you know, my mom just kind of slipped it out, you know, technically outed me, but like, whatever, I don't really care that much. You know, my grandma has no power over me anymore. But, yeah, so it's just pretty much known in my family that I'm like into dudes and not dudes and everything. I went to Pride last year. I did not get to go this year, but yeah, I do the gay shit. Me and my partner are very happy. Yeah, we're looking to get a place together in a couple months, so that'll be nice. But that's my gay tale. It's not very interesting, I suppose, but I don't know. It is the season, so I thought it's a good time to share or whatever. Thank you for listening. For some reason, I'm not sure why, but yeah, have a good one, everybody.